Alrighty, welcome everyone, SpeedClear right here, with the first in a series of revised tutorials I hope to do. So this one is going to be a building your deck, and this series I'm hoping to do is kind of like a podcast. I'm just going to talk, I'm going to give tips on deck building, I might review specific cards or specific decks, but let's just see how it goes. So for now, I'm going to build on my previous one tutorial video. So I showed you guys all the tribes, music, I explained attacks, music, location, that sort of thing. Now we're going to go into building your deck. So the main thing I focus on is 66 because that is the most common and the best deck. Because 1v1 and 3v3 you get into very specific decks, but 6v6 has just the right amount of everything. So anyways, the basic format for 6v6 is the pyramid structure. So 1 in the back, 2 in the middle, 3 in the front. And so the way that you would build a deck is just for standard. You would have, so your 3 frontline creatures are usually fighters. Now these consist of guys who have high energy, so let's say 50 and up. If you're running a stat, they usually have high in that stat. If you're running an element, they will usually have that element. Now things you can build on with that is if they don't have that element, give them a battle gear that will give them that element, so you can help them in battle, or a gear to boost their stats, or a gear to boost their energy is also really common, like a drill dozer or an evergreen tunic. And then your second row is where you usually have either a support fighter or a support muge, or just a regular muge defended by a fighter. So if you have a combination of fighter and muge, you have a fighter back there, usually equipped with a bronze flight, or that just innately has defender, like Roman Desert Wanderer or Tank Toborn Overworld General. So they're going to defend your 2 muges. Now, your 2 muges are creatures that will have high mugic counters. And they usually have low energy. So this is why they're good in that, because they can cast your mugic for you, help out your warriors who usually don't have low mugic counters, and then they themselves don't have to fight because they have very low energy. And then the back is just the same. You can have another support muge, or a creature that would do better at the end of a match, like a Hein or a Fraft of the Hero. So now that we've gone into that, let's go into more specifics. So Mugic. The costs of a Mugic are as follows. It can be an X cost Mugic, so you can pay any number of counters you want, and then a 0 cost Mugic, you have to pay nothing. A 1 cost Mugic, you pay 1 Mugic counter. 2 costs, you pay 2. 3, you pay 3. 4, 5, 6, etc. The highest it goes is 6 just for the cost. Now, Mugic is the spells you cast in battle. Now, generally, you want to pick a Mugic that best suits your deck style. So, for example, if you're doing an Overworld deck, you will generally run some sort of heal. So, maybe a Song of Resurgence, or a classic Overworld Mugic like Refrain of Denial, or Rhyme of the Reckless. So, things that generally stick with the format of your tribe. If you're running an Underworld deck, you would generally do things that deal damage or boost your damage, or destroy something in your opponent's deck. So an example of this would be a Cannon of Casualty, very staple Underworld card. Discord Disarming, Searing Symphony, things like that. With the Mepedians, their Mugics are usually some sort of heal, so maybe an Ember Flourish, and then Melody of Mirage is also a common card, and then everything else is just kind of you pick. With the Danians, again, they have a lot more varied Mugic. If you're running an Infection deck, a Strain of Infection is usually used. If you're running a Compost deck, or you just have Mandalores, Denying Dirge is a good Mugic. As for your Denying or Negation Mugics, they are as follows. So the Overworld Refrain of Denial, the Underworld Refrain of Denial, the Danian Refrain of Denial, the Marillion Refrain of Denial, Cadence Clash, and Interlude of Interruption. And I think that's and Sound of Noise. So these are the things that you're going to want to use to negate or dispel the effect of your opponent's Mugic. So say for example, I have my Overworld deck. And I'm facing an Underworld deck. My opponent plays a Cannon of Casualty, and I respond with a Cadence Clash, and then he plays a Refrain Denial on my Cadence Clash, and then I play my Refrain Denial on his Refrain Denial. So then what would happen was, if he didn't respond to my Refrain Denial, Mine would dispel his, and my cadence would negate his cannon casualty, and it would be negated and go back to his hand. And so that's how that works. As for attacks, depending on your army, you will almost always run, except for Bodil's Dagger, elements and or stats. So if you're running elements, obviously you already have that specific element or elements in mind. So if you had an Underworld deck, you will almost always run fire. So attacks you would use are Consuming Flame, Magmamite, Fire Ram, Flame Bloom, stuff like that. And then there's sets of attacks for each element. So for Consuming Flame, there's also Air Assault, Earth Pulse, and Flood Force. These are good attacks to run in any deck, depending on your element. Same with Fire Ram, same with Magmamite, there's other versions of those. So you're going to want to determine those. So if you're running high cost attacks like Magmamite, which is 4, you're going to need to have some zeros. So with an Underworld deck, what you will usually have is your big attacks followed by usually Flash Warps, Flame Gloom, and or Flying Advantage, maybe Ectospasm, maybe Velocitrap, Fire Stream, all sorts of things. So you're going to want to figure out what kind of balance of attacks you want to have. If you want to go for big damage and have big attacks, then you're going to need to run more zeros. If you like to play a more balanced kind of game, then you're generally going to have more ones and then maybe a couple twos, so you won't have to have as many zeros, so you can deal consistent damage on your turn. Or if you're running, say, a Danian Compost deck, you're probably going to have some heavier attacks. Play your zeros and try to get them out of your hand and save them up for later battles when your remaining guys are going to fight and deal a lot of damage. And then locations. Locations are a very crucial part of it. So there's two parts of a location card. There's initiative, and then there's the effect. So initiative determines who goes first. So this can be courage, power, wisdom, or speed, an element, your tribe, your number of music counters, who has the fewest music counters, things like that. So when you're picking your location deck, you are generally going to want to use locations that have a good effect, and then the effect depends on card to card. So there's cards like Rapashak Chime Grid, where you gain a counter, Gloomuk Swamp, where earth attacks are boosted and fire attacks are reduced, the pits, where power attacks are increased and speed attacks are decreased. So again, you're going to want to pick these things according to your deck. And there's a lot of varying locations. So that's for an Underworld deck. For example, from a Pedian deck, you would have things like Broken Edge. It gives you outperform speed, and you have Initiative Air. For a Danian deck, Mount Pillar Reservoir Liberated. Initiative Danian, and you and your opponent infect an uninfected creature you both control. So all this, okay guys, so that's it for me today. So with what I've covered here, I've tried to cover as much as possible, be as general as possible, but still give you guys a bit more insight. So if I'm going to do a next one, I'm going to need to hear what all you guys think. So leave your comments. Tell me what I could do better, what you want to hear, what needs to be explained more for you if you want a deeper understanding of this game, and all those types of things. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that. Check out my other videos. I have a playlist for a bunch of chaotic videos that I have, from other users around YouTube. I'm on Trade Cards Online. You can play me there. You can see and review all my decks that have been put up. I'm going to try to put up some every week or so. If you want to play me, leave a comment on this video or message me on Trade Cards Online. So, thank you everybody for watching. SpeedFlare A out.